Hello, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. I am your host, Tara LaFon Gooch, and today I'm interviewing Shawn Leonard. Now, Shawn is an Indigenous medium. He's also an author, a very accomplished one, and host of a TV show. But above all things, he considers himself to be a teacher. And I absolutely love that because honestly, I consider myself to be a teacher as well. It lights me up, it gets me going, and it nothing gives me more energy than watching the light bulb moments go off with people. Are you the same way, Shawn?
Absolutely. I love seeing the change and transformation that takes place in people that think, I mean, we're all going through life. We have our own experiences, our own journey, etc. And, sometimes, we can feel lost or off track or maybe not find ourselves right away. And that, that self-discovery of understanding who we are and really, truly what we are, which is, I like to tell people is, we're spirit beings having a human experience temporarily because eventually we haven't always physically been here, and but we've always existed in the energy of the universe itself, and then one day we're going to return to the energy. And a lot of people say, well, we think it's almost like we lose that sense of self, that identification of who we are. And I think it's so important that when you're in life that your ego has a role. I mean, you have a purpose here, and that's part of your ego, of like understanding and developing and growing that in a way that is healthy and well and brings you peace and joy in life, whatever that looks like. And for me, particularly, through the many years of doing this work that I've been doing, I mean, I have a TV show in Canada on APTN, which is the Aboriginal People's Television Network, and it's called Spirit Talker, which just happens to be going in its fifth season, coming out, I think, late fall or early next year. I'm not 100% sure when the fifth season is coming out. And also, I'm an author of a book also titled the same thing, Spirit Talker, which is by Hay House Publishing. And I also have an oracle card deck called Wisdom of the Elders, also published by Hay House Publishing. And through my journey, and I know a lot of people are on their own journey of, this becoming who they need to be in life. And whatever it is, I think if you do it with your whole heart, unconditionally, and, with the knowledge that somehow that you're going to be touching and reaching people effectively, in such a way that you can transform and shift people's lives. And that's a gift. That's the real gift, is being able to connect to people and help and serve people with who you are and the knowledge that you have and however that you approach them in life. And mine just happens to be as a spirit talker, as a psychic medium. I'm Mi'kmaq, which is Indigenous in Canada to Eastern Canada, Nova Scotia, Canada. And we're called the Mi'kmaqi, which we're the Mi'kmaq people. And, being any Indigenous person pretty much in North America, and I'm sure there's different Indigenous cultures across the world, but, we have a deep spiritual connection through our ceremonies, our words, and just the way of life to spirit itself. And we identify spirit, from, grandfather sun to grandfather sky to grandmother moon to, we actually have a word in Mi'kmaq, and I know there's a word as well in every Indigenous culture that says the same thing. And it just means we're all connected.
Uh-huh.
And we say Emsit Nogama, which means all my relations. And when we say we're all related, that means we're related to the oceans, the trees, the sky, the sun, all of our other brothers and sisters, whatever color and, beliefs that they have in the world. We're all one family here. We're all brothers and sisters of the same world. And, supporting each other on our individual journeys is an amazing thing to do. And I'm really happy as a proud Indigenous person in the work I do to help and guide and serve people through healing, knowledge, and understanding. And so here I am. I'm being who I need to be, who I feel the universe has brought me here to be. And I do it because it makes me feel good in my heart to do this, to help and serve people. Not, very much like yourself, Tara, like doing what you're doing with your podcast and how you're serving people, and everybody out there that's listening in whatever format they are listening, that, you have a purpose as well. Every single one of us do. And during that purpose, I know it's going to connect to people, and whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to be connecting to others. At some point, when you've learned and gained enough knowledge, then it's natural for us to share it in some way, where we all become teachers. There's in Mi'kmaq and Indigenous culture, and I'm sure many people have seen this. We have the medicine wheel.
Mm.
Is like an outline of different things. If you've ever looked at the Indigenous medicine wheel, there's 4 colors, there's 4 directions, representing, the different races of the world. There's yellow, there's black, there's white, there's red, and then you can mix a bunch all together too. And you're still connected to all those same colors, but we're in one circle. And we feel that there's different stages of life. There's infancy, there's youth, there's adult, and then you become the elder, where you share what you know. And people are different stages of that medicine wheel, and wherever you are, that's amazing. Don't keep going your journey, and keep being who you need to be, and
I
do
love
the
that.
greatest of your ability.
Oh, I think we may have had a delay there, but no, I love that. Now I want to touch on something that you mentioned. You said interconnectivity, oneness, right?
Yeah.
And that's so powerful, because we start to look at other people as less like other people, and it more as extensions of our own selves.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at someone else as an extension of yourself, you look at them with more compassion, more empathy, right?
Yes.
Because it's so easy to look at someone else and see all the ways they're different from you, but really they're just complements to who you are. And I think this is really important because, a lot of times, especially with social media, right? It's really easy to look at somebody and say, they've always had it together. They must have always been successful. They were born into the right family, maybe we think, or all of these different things, and think that that is somehow separate from us. And because it is separate, it's intangible for us to also have those same things. But it's really not a separateness, it's a unity. And ultimately, I do believe that is the answer. But you also hit on something really powerful, and that's purpose, right? That we each have a unique purpose and a unique set of abilities and skills. And when you hone into them and really honor them, you're honoring yourself. You're also honoring the collective, right? Because you're helping bring everyone up just by you being your authentic self, owning your power and purpose. What do
Right.
you think about that, Shawn?
Well, I think that's an amazing. What you've just said, and there's actually a chapter in my book, Spirit Talker, that I talk about at the end, and I wanted to title it "Walking on Water."
Mm.
And I think all great spiritual people, or people who have been serving others in life, and if you can, and in my opinion, not necessarily has to be yours, but the biblical description of Jesus walking on water. If you think about that, and I actually have a picture that I look at every now and then, and it's about Jesus holding his hand through the water, pulling people up to where he is. So they would be able to go through life with the same consciousness, the same awareness, the same understanding, the same knowledge. And I think it's an allegory as opposed to being a literal thing, in my opinion. And it may be a dream that one of the disciples had a long time ago. Who knows? But I think it's a powerful analogy, in a sense of, you might be the person who is able to walk in water in your area of life, or your area of expertise, right? And really to raise the consciousness of the world. And let's just say that water where some people walk upon, that you think that are better or greater than you. I mean, is we're all capable and able to achieve, to rise to this space and place that we become who we are in the greatest way. And maybe it's through your sharing of your knowledge and wisdom where you can help lift people up so they can walk on water too. And it's in my opinion, I feel like it's an analogy of a dream that maybe one of the disciples had way long ago. And we each, are entitled to our beliefs and opinions. But I think it's a powerful one. So when you see that picture or think about that image, maybe it'll make you think about who you are and what you share and how you lift people up.
I love that. I make it a habit and a philosophy, a personal mantra, if you will, that, the successful person is not the one who throws down the ladder from which they rise,
Mm-hmm.
right? A
Yeah.
successful, truly successful person, somebody that's fulfilled and successful, right? Because it's not great to have one without the other. It's good to have success and fulfillment. That you bring up the person coming up, that you bring up the person behind you, right? And it's so much more powerful when we share that wealth, share that wisdom, and really make a point to lift up others as well. But I have to ask, Shawn, you've got all of these amazing things that you've done with your life. You're a host of a TV show, large social media following, books. I mean, it's amazing. But has it always been this way? I would just love to hear a little bit of the backstory going back. Take us back to a time when things were a little different.
Right. Well, I mean, again, when you have a purpose, it might not reveal itself until a particular time of life. That maybe you weren't ready to walk in, these shoes until a specific time, a crossroads of events or a tragedy or different things that happen in your life. And, you know, I call myself the reluctant psychic a little bit because back in the day, it's not something I would have thought, hey, when I finish school, this is who I'm meant to be, or this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I literally thought about getting a job and maybe having a family, and that was pretty much where I was. But all throughout my life, I've had, unique experiences that were to me that were very spiritual, very connected, strange things that have happened, things I knew that I didn't know how I knew. And after my father passed away, unfortunately, when I was like 15, that was like a real pinnacle shift for me because I really didn't think about who we are beyond this physical reality, who we are in this form. And I like to say we're just a shell that houses this light that exists within all of us. And after my father passed, I had a visitation from him, and it was very profound. Like I remember I was sleeping on my mom's basement on the couch, and I got up off the couch, and I could still see myself sleeping. Mind you, at the end of the room, there was this bright, enormous light about the size of my fist.
Wow.
And I just became amazed by this light. It was strange enough to see myself still sleeping, but standing in this room, and the light grew, and the light just got larger and larger to about the size of a person, or maybe a little bit bigger. And out walked my father out of this light. Now, my father passed away at 42 years old. He was in the military. He was in the Navy. He was a hunter, a fisher, smoked, didn't really take good care of himself. I mean, unfortunately, he had passed away from a heart attack at 42. And, out he walks, and my dad, for whatever reason I thought was ridiculous, he was wearing a long white robe. And I'm like, what the hell are you wearing, Dad? Like, I literally would never think my dad would be caught dead wearing this, literally. And he was. And I was just like, and he says, don't worry. Many people wear stuff like this over here. You get used to it. I'm like, okay. And then I was angry too, because I was harboring anger towards my father for leaving my mom, my brother, my life at such a young age. I was only 15. And, he knew I was angry, and he said, Shawn, you need to calm down. He says, I come to you with a few messages just to let you know, one, I'm okay. Number two, you need to tell your mom that I'm okay. Tell her that you've had this visit and that I'm in a good space. I'm like, okay. And I became so fixated on this light that existed behind him. And all I could think about was that was home. That's truly where we all have come from into this world, and that we're going to return to this light one day. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm 15 years old. I have my whole life ahead of me. But you know what? I was like, I'm ready to go home. And my dad said, no, you're not coming in here. And I said, why? Like, why can't I go? And he says, well, one, you have a purpose. You have a reason for being here. And you don't know this, but long before you or I were born, we made a deal of sorts that I would leave your life now. and that I would be the one who shows you the light so you can remember who you are. I'm like, okay. Now, why would we make such a stupid deal? Isn't there some other way we could do this? And he says, and plus, your mom, and he showed me what it would look like. And I felt everything that my mom would experience from the 7 years of extended grief that she would go through if I would leave this world. And then he showed me what it would look like for my brother. And it was hard, very hard for both of them. And I still, despite seeing and feeling what they would suffer through, struggle with, I would have still gone. I would have still left, because I knew, even though 7 years may seem a long time, it's really not that long in the big picture of life, and that they eventually would overcome this. And my dad said, no, you can't come here because you don't understand this. But one day, and this is part of the reason why I left, is to show you the light so that you can remember, because you're going to be talking about this one day. You're going to be sharing the story with people. And he says, you're going to be helping and serve people, understanding who they are in this divine connection that we all have. I'm like, okay. And then he touched me on the forehead, and I woke up on the couch. And I didn't understand like what he meant, that I was going to be helping people understand this connection. And it wasn't until my 20s where I met, I was very young when I got married and had a couple beautiful girls, daughters that live in Calgary, Alberta. One of them is a psychologist, and the other lady is, my other youngest daughter is in criminology. So they're doing what they feel like they need to do, although they're both very highly intuitive and sensitive in their own ways. And, it was like and this is why I'm saying I was reluctant, because, I was just going about my merry life. And then I started to have insights about people, like thoughts, feelings, things like this. And not to be judgmental of anybody in any way, but I would just be sitting at a restaurant and I would know things about people, and I didn't know how I knew. And so anyway, I told my wife about what I thought, and she thought I was crazy. So anyway, I told her about some guy that she was working with that, probably was stealing money. That's what I said. And then I said that this guy is probably like selling, he's a drug dealer of some sort. And these two people that I saw walking around, I'm pretty sure they were having an affair. Anyway, so she said, "No, you're crazy. You're married to other people. That guy's father's a minister, etc." And I'm like, "Well, it's just a thought, And within a week, the guy got fired for stealing. The guy got busted. The cops came and arrested him at work for dealing drugs, and she caught the couple kissing in the kitchen. And she goes, "How the hell did you know that?" I said, "I didn't really know it. Nobody knows everything. Nobody. That's a fallacy. And I think a lot of people think that people with these abilities or this understanding of how this works, that you just should know everything. It's just that you're perceptive. You're perceptive to energy, to people, situations, vibrations of that's going on. And that's how it really started. It was just, I wasn't sure. And even today, after doing this work 25 years, I can't say I'm really sure about anything. I'm sure that I'm seeing things, feeling things, hearing things, but sometimes I'm not always sure what they may mean. But despite what comes to me, from this, conscious of the universe, from our ancestors, or you could call them guides, your loved ones, etc., that I've learned to trust, and I've learned to work what is being given and honor that process. And if you do it with your whole heart, without fear, without thinking that this is something I can't do or that's not possible, because those are all limiting beliefs, that we all share. And there's so many people have different limiting beliefs about life, that I can't, or I can't do this, or I had to be born with money to do this. I had to, there's just so many. I could go on and on about limiting beliefs that people have. And it's almost like you've bought into a religion of sorts that you've created. And you've given, these are the core fundamentals of life, that I can't, which is silly. What if you said, it is possible? What if you said, I can? What if I said, it's all possible for me? If it's possible for that person, it's also possible for me. And it's really shifting your mindset in such a way that, and this is where I was reluctant, because I didn't know I was going on this journey. I didn't. I never planned it, and it just kind of unfolded. And next, my wife brought somebody to the house I did a session with. And, she said, we're going to have dinner, and you're going to be reading Jen on the weekend, just so you know. And I'm like, what do you mean reading Jen? She said, she's been to lots of people, but, but she thinks that you might have some abilities, you just don't know it. And it was really just her coming to me and seeing some things that I couldn't know that made me realize that it was possible. And if I wasn't put in this awkward space because if I said, hey, I can, and I did say to my wife, I can't, this is not accessible to me. Only certain people can do this. These beliefs that I had would have stopped me right away. But my ex-wife now said, we're going to try. So I tried. And you know what? I was so surprised that I was able to, and it gave me the confidence. Next, after this lady came, she's calling all of her waitress friends, and I have other, call them clients, what have you, or people that are wanting to pay me money now to come see what I can see about them or connect to. And I'm like, well, I guess I could start doing this and try it and see where it goes. And the more that I stepped into it, and the more faith, the more understanding, the deeper I understood in relation to how this really worked. And I like to say it's like a language. It's like learning a language of sorts. A foreign language, when you hear it, it's like it's very foreign to you. You're like, I have no idea what they're saying. Then you might learn how to say hello, or you might learn how do you get to the bathroom, and you start to learn a few little things, and then next you're able to put a few little things together, and then with time and passion, because you start to enjoy what it is that you're learning about, then you become very fluent. And then for me, it was like discovering this language, and to break the aspects of the language down, like clairvoyance, which is like seeing things from spirit. And back in the day, I started to meditate a lot, visualized meditations where I'd hold images in my mind, go on these little journeys that people would guide me with. Sometimes I would just look at an object and just hold the object in my mind, still being present. But it allowed me to retrain a part of my mind that has been dormant for most of my life. That it was always in me. It was a muscle that I had that I wasn't working. And the more I worked it in, exercise that mental part of my mind, the greater it became. It just became easier and easier. And then other things started to unfold. I started to hear things, thoughts, and words, names, and then I started to feel things about people. And it was just like, and when you put it all together, it's a communication, it's a language, and and there's a little bit of subtle difference between a psychic and somebody who's a spirit talker. In my indigenous world, my indigenous name, which is given to me by an elder, is White Eagle Spirit Talker.
Wow.
Wabak Ipu Agura Mahajik Jigamahamajic, which is Mi'kmaq for White Eagle Spirit Talker. But we don't say psychic mediums or anything like that. We say spirit talker. So whether you're a spirit talker, psychic, or medium, it's just that you're working with energy, and energy from people. And some people are really naturally gifted at that. They have this ability to connect to people, and they know how to guide people, give people, guidance in life, and or give them direction in relation to a space where they are. And you may be that person, very clairsentient, very sensory and feeling where people are and what they need, what you need to give them as guidance. Very much like what psychic mediums do in that sense when they're guiding people through life. It's just that I feel I need to guide you with this. I feel like you need to think about that, etc. And maybe if you can listen to your words, you may understand that you may have some psychic abilities yourself, and you just brushed it off as something logic. Who knows? But it's sensory. It's feeling. It's like feeling something for people is not logic. It's like a untangible energy that exists with people in that connection. Now, as a spirit talker, a medium, right? Someone that talks with spirits, which I think we all can do. I don't think it's like, and through my journeys through life, seeing different elders and their ceremonies, whether it's a pipe ceremony or sweat ceremony or a feasting your bundle ceremony or building a lodge ceremony, there's ceremony to everything. And it's really the invitation of your ancestors. It's the invitation of spirit that's all around us, whether it's in the trees, the plants, and honoring the spirit and everything and being connected to that. And, we have consciousness now, right? We're in form, physical form. And I think it's so weird that people think that consciousness can only exist in physical form. yet we're made from the invisible universe. The energy of everything that created everything within the universe. And obviously the universe has to have consciousness, but you can't have consciousness if it's not there abundantly in the universe already. So you can call that the creator, you can call that God, you can call that Allah. It doesn't really freaking matter. It's all the same shit. Sorry for my language. But we all come from the same source, whether you're black, white, red, or yellow, or mixes of different colors at all. But we're all from the same source. We're all brothers and sisters from the same energy.
I love that. Oh my gosh, so wise. Well, I think I might have some of those abilities too, Shawn. It's funny. My husband and I maybe will be out to dinner, and anybody that walks by, a waiter, a waitress, I come up with stories about them.
There you go.
I tell my husband, I'm like, that person, she's in grad school right now getting her nursing degree, but she's afraid she's going to fail her test tomorrow. And
That's definitely psychic ability.
I think so, right? But it's kind of like what you were saying, the fear, the self-doubt, the limiting beliefs, the lack of confidence.
Right,
can truly be the thing that stifles some of that purpose, your natural abilities, your strengths, your inherent gifts, right? Because we might have these things and then brush them off, throw them under the rug, right? But I agree with you that we all have some type of, what you said, a clair ability. I feel like I'm very clairsentient. As you mentioned, my clients will say that to me, and they'll say, how did you know I needed this? I was just thinking about this like 5 minutes ago, and you emailed me. I can feel other people's energy. And if I also pay attention to my own energy when I'm interacting with somebody. So for example, if someone drains my energy, I can literally feel it. And I know to set up a barrier to protect myself, right? And it's not to say that other person is a bad person, but it's to say we are different vibrational frequencies. And in order for me to keep my vibrational frequency high, I need to be around and surround myself with others that have an equally high vibrational energy. And it's usually from a place of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And right. their alignment with their purpose and their level of confidence and their level of gratitude happens to match my own. And then we can amplify each other. What do you think about that?
When I really agree with you in every sense of that, exactly, because some people can drain you, but I think what allows me to disconnect from the energy is just to truly accept them as who they are. Yeah. So if I can accept them, that we may not be in alignment in regards to energy, but accept that they're on a journey and their conscious, their awareness, or who they believe they are may be different than what my beliefs are. And that's okay. I accept them and understand who they are, and they're being who they need to be. If they choose to learn from me, grow, experience, then that's great. Then I will share. Then I'm giving energy as opposed to having them take it from me. But I just accept them, be kind, be grateful, respectful, always come from a good space. And just, sometimes you have to just move away from people for sure. And that's okay. They're on their journey and they need to go through some stuff. It might be 6 or 7 years down the road before they find they're in the same space where you were when you started on your journey as well, whatever that is. And that's okay. Just accept people, love them, respect them, be kind to them. And sometimes just, send them, let them continue on their journey.
That's right. Absolutely. Always take the high road, right? And love no matter what, right? And I think that's pretty powerful as well, that you accept people, you forgive people, and you know what? We're all on a journey anyway. So that's the important thing to note, is we're all on this journey. But, a lot of our listeners right now, maybe they're thinking, hey, I never thought of that as an ability. So I do want to go back to that because, like you said, I think a lot of people do have certain abilities, whether it be psychic or otherwise, but they've doubted themselves, Shawn. And, with you, what you noted, and I'm glad that you did, that you started to see these things unfold in real life, right? So you started to see, the people interacting with each other in a different way, and other people started to notice it as well. I've actually had dreams before that have come to life the next day. There's a reason why I wear this band on my finger. I had a dream about this band, and the next day I saw this band in a fire.
Wow.
Pulled it out, wiped it off. At the time, it was dark because it's a silicone wedding band, by the way. So these can't catch on fire, they don't melt. And I saw it in a fireplace the next day. We were camping. I'd never been camping before this particular area. Pulled it out, dusted it off. It was the exact same thing I dreamt about the night prior, which is a marble silicone wedding band.
Wow,
It's
that's
a
amazing.
men's. It's not a woman's, so that's why I wear it on a different finger, because it won't fit on the others.
No, and you
But
can't get it sized?
do what?
Can you get it sized at all to fit on the
It's a
different fingers?
size 8, and my shoe size is a size 8.
Okay, well, I guess it is what it's supposed to be then.
It's kind of crazy that I dreamt
Yeah.
about this and the next day I saw it. And there's something to that, right? And we can brush it off. It's really easy to brush it off and say, "Oh, that's a coincidence."
Right, absolutely. Yeah. You know what what my dad said, he knew my journey. He knew it before I knew it. He
Mm.
could see something when he was in the spirit. That means when we come to life, there is a purpose that is meant to unfold. So there's something that's supposed to take place. So they know the plan for you. That doesn't mean we don't have free will and that we can't resist or whatever. That there is a plan for each and every one of us in some form or fashion of life. And it could be just to be a mom. It could be whatever it is that brings you joy. Whatever that is, then you do it with your whole heart. You keep doing it and you express it in the ways that you feel like you need to express it. But when you have moments where you dream of something like that, what I like to tell people is, well, you remembered your plan. And this is a sign for you to say, hey, I am where I'm supposed to be right now in this moment. Because it was long planned before you actually physically come into the world that this would take place, and your spirit remembered before it happened. And then it gives you great insight as to knowing that because sometimes we think that we might be lost somewhere. We're off in left field. My life is chaos, or maybe I'm not supposed to be where I'm supposed to be right now. But have you ever thought, well, maybe you are? There's struggle, the pain that you're going through is where you were supposed to be right here, right now, and that you're meant to learn from it, grow from it, and then become this new person or this new development that expresses itself through you. Absolutely, it does. Right? So, we don't plan only good things for life. How can you learn if everything is cupcakes, roses, and just lollygagging and hopping and skipping through a field and having just joy all the time? You wouldn't learn anything. I mean, especially when you come from a space, the other side or spirit world or heaven, whatever word that you choose to use to describe it. If there is none of that there, and we come here to remember who we are through all of those hard things, because we put hard things in our life, the loss, the pain, the relationship breakdown, the loss of the job, the breakdown emotionally with friends, etc. These are all gifts. And each one of these experiences are teaching something to each of us. Not to and many people get lost in this too, because we and that's why there's addiction. That's why they're fighting learning what they need to from this. So they'd rather medicate themselves so they don't have to feel it or go through it. That they're trying to be at peace with it, so they feel like they have to medicate themselves through it, whether it's drugs or alcohol. But that's why there's therapists, psychologists, people out there to kind of help and guide you through that journey. And it could be a spirit talker, a medium, etc., through grief or something like that. But there's people out there that can help you, to not only overcome the obstacle you feel like that's blocking you in life, but help you to grow to become a greater person because of the thing that you went through.
Yeah.
And that is the journey. That is, we all didn't just come in here and everything just kind of unfolded. My life has unfolded in a very awesome and remarkable way, but it's not, I'm going to tell you, my life, and I'm sure everybody's lives out there, isn't easy.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been all cupcakes and roses and, just like abundance that is just blowing out your bum, right? That doesn't happen like that.
Oh, shoot.
But you are a creator. You're part of source. You're part of creation. You are a creator within your own life. And you can be your anti-hero or you can be your hero. You choose. Whatever one you choose, you are right.
Yes.
That's the path you've chosen. But if you choose to rise above, to learn, to grow, to experience, to become this greatest expression of who you see yourself being, then you will be right in that as well. Because we've come here with that plan. Nobody's forcing us. But sometimes there'll be moments where the right person comes and says something to you that guides you in a direction that you've never saw before. Or there's a message on a TV show that you just watched and it hit home and it spoke to you. Or there was a song that came on that somebody sung and, it triggered you in such a way that it moved you to think differently. There's always little messages, coming to us from, we'll call it your guides, your ancestors, the creator. That energy is always there supporting you. And if you pay attention, the more observant you become, the more supported that you'll see that you are. And I always tell people, speak to spirit, because you're speaking to creation. You're speaking to everything that's around you. I invite you to help me know who I need to be. I invite you to help guide me through right people, right action, right things that are coming to my life to help that all unfold. But whoever it is that I need to be, I accept it. I accept it fully. And I'm willing, if you work with me, I will give it my all, with all of my heart. And you'll notice that your ancestors, whatever culture you are, will step into your life in some small way, leave you a message, leave you a sign, give you this right song at the right time to know that you're being supported and guided as well. We're all connected, not just to physical people in the physical world, but to spirit and the spirit people that are also within this world as well.
I believe it. Wow. So powerful. Honestly, I know I got goosebumps several times. I'm sure a lot of listeners did as well. Everyone is going to want to know how to get a hold of your books, how to watch your shows, how to connect with you on social media, my friends. So please let us know the best ways to connect with you.
Well, the best way to connect to me is to go to my website, Shawn, SHAWN, hyphen, or middle line, Leonard, LEONARD.com. And there you can find my Oracle card deck, my book. You can find out about the TV show. If I was to give you a quick, because I know that you have probably a very high American audience, because I'm from Canada, right? So in Canada, TV show Spirit Talker is on AP10. You can watch it on TV. It's a free channel across the country. But for other people out there, and a lot of people these days don't even have TVs freaking anymore. They're like, everything's on the computer. They don't have cable anymore. But the show is available in Canada. You would need a VPN, like a NordVPN or something like that, to say, hey, I'm in Canada for a little while. So you say you're in Canada, you go to APTN Lumi, LUMI.ca, and you say you're in Canada. Sign up. It's free for a week. So this is going to cost you nothing. You can binge watch all the Spirit Talker that you want. And then, once after the week, you can always sign up again under a different email, hint, hint. But, I just would love people to see the show and see what it's all about and help them grow. But, you can contact me through my website, shawn-leonard.com. And this month of September, I'm in my online course launch, which is called Spirit Talker Tribe. And from September 7th to September 30th is my launch. And I've already done a couple live sessions within Facebook and within a Facebook group and on YouTube as well. And you can find my YouTube channel on my website, that I do free teachings for all the month of September. And then October 1st, I stop, anybody from signing up at that point. And then I serve my people for a year. The people that are interested, when I have to share or teach them, then I teach them for a year, a format that I've developed called Spirit Talker Tribe. So check that on my website too.
I love that. Amazing. Well, thank you so much again, Shawn, for being a guest on the show today. Thank you to everyone who is listening, sharing this, and subscribing to this podcast. Guys, we can't grow without your support. So please continue to like, share, subscribe, and leave a review. Let us know how you enjoyed this episode and my guest today, Shawn Leonard. Shawn, thank you so much. I feel truly blessed and grateful that you came on the show today. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. Guys, we will catch you on the next episode. Take care.